When you're looking for Whirlpool innovation and quality, who has the answers, the selection, the price? Ventura TV Appliance. With billions in nationwide appliance buying power, more than Home Depot and Best Buy combined, will help you save. Our low prices on Energy Star qualified Whirlpool appliances save you energy and money and pay no interest on select models when paid in full within 12 months. Ventura TV Appliance, serving you since 1951.
Hi, I'm John Matos. Welcome to this live edition of Connect with Me on the showroom floor at Ventura TV on this day. We're going to be here for the full hour, 10 to 11 o'clock on this Monday morning, on the air, off the presses. When we introduce you to our guest today, I'm sure you will instantly recognize him, at least if you've been in the Central Valley for any length of time. We are going to talk to him in a moment, but first our phone number, 436-MeTV, option 11. Do call in. Hey, my friends, please do turn down the sound. We're back with our program in a moment.
Tonight I want to discuss the importance of the television medium to the American people.
We are going to be talking to our media guest today here and Connect with Me. As usual on Monday, it's on the air, off the presses, here on Comcast Channel 187 and 43.6. But I want to push the phone numbers real quick, because when we introduce you to our guest today, you're going to probably instantly recognize this man. He's been in the Central Valley for many moons, as they say, and the number is 436-MeTV. Option 11, do turn down the sound on this day when you call in. Remember, this program now is live between 10 o'clock in the morning and 11. We're here for the full 60 minutes. And before I get into the program today, I also want to mention that if you do have a guest idea, for example, if you know somebody interesting here in the Central Valley that you think we ought to feature on this program, do call us at 436-MeTV. Don't hit option 11, hit a different option and leave a message for us, and we will get that as soon as we possibly can. Anyway, it's on the air, off the presses today. Our guest worked for both Univision and Telemundo. He worked on the sale end of things. He was very well known in town, especially when it came to sales in terms of the media. We're going to talk about that in just a moment, but first, put the picture up on the screen and I'll show you what I'm talking about. There he is. Do you recognize that man? That picture was taken in 1967. Our guest today, boy, Pete Romero, was featured in a full-page article in Sports Illustrated for running the best 2-mile, half-mile, and mile in less than 2 hours. He did it while attending Reedley High School. As a senior, he ran the fastest 2 race in the nation, 8:54. But some wonder how this guy right here also ran a 2-mile race in 8 minutes 42 seconds. That's unheard of. He did it while running alone, though no one on the track but him at the time. We'll talk to him about that. So it was never really officially recognized. He still did it, still was clocked at 8:42 for a 2-mile race. Are you kidding me? Big article in the Fresno Bee about him a few years ago. Live in the flesh in our studio right now is Pete Romero, the one and only local track hero, featured in Sports Illustrated, media sales executive, and now the CEO of the California Hispanic Athletics and Sports Foundation here in the city of Fresno. We're going to talk to Pete. You probably recognize him if you've been around here for many years. 436-MeTV, option 11. We'll talk to him about that 2-mile venture around the track as a high school kid, and we've got the Sports Illustrated article right here in our studio. 436-MeTV, option 11. Turn down the sound. We're back with our program in a moment.
When you like Ventura TV Appliance on Facebook, it's nice. But when you love the Samsung big screen we deliver, it's even better. Our website is cool, and it's a good place to start. But you really should touch the merchandise before you buy. Time for that upgrade to an HD 3D web-enabled Samsung TV. Get the best selection, price, and service in town without waiting. Come in to Ventura TV Appliance and touch the merchandise today.
Hey, we're back here on our program Connect with Me, on the air, off the presses. This is the Fresno Bee sports section from 2009. Of course, Pete Romero was featured down here on the left-hand side, and Matt James wrote the article, and a very interesting article. I don't know if you can see this online or not. I'm not sure if the archives go back that far in the Fresno Bee, but Pete brought that in. Pete Romero, you're a very interesting guy. Well, welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
I very much appreciate it. The more I talked to you yesterday and the day before, the more fascinated I became with your story, and especially after I read the Bee. And I vaguely remember this in 2009. So I do want to talk about the media today because it is our topic of the day. But I first want to talk a little bit about the track end of this thing, because you were a local track star in high school and nationally recognized in Sports Illustrated. So how is it that you got involved in track?
Actually, I wanted to go to school because I realized that education was very important.
Yeah.
And so I figured out a way to go to school, and that was running. And so, yes, it was a sport, but it was more than that for me. It was a kind of a economic way out. So I took advantage of it.
Yeah, it was an economic way out because what was your living situation at the time with your parents?
We were migrant people, and we had come from Texas.
But not born here.
No, I was born in Juarez, Mexico.
Mm-hmm.
I came to El Paso when I was 3, and then we moved out here when I was like 5. And so, we were migrant people, and so I didn't like that, and I thought there's got to be better. So I looked around and I realized those people that went to school did better, and I said, that's what I'm going to do.
And you thought that maybe by running track is the way to get to school.
Absolutely.
Or get through college.
Right. If you ran fast, the colleges wanted you, so they would pay everything. So that's what I did.
Yeah. So tell us about that day you ran 8:42 in a 2-mile. That wasn't in a race. It was practice.
It was a track meet that involved the school, like inter squad. And,
okay.
I just was in terrific shape, and I ran a 2-mile, and it was 8:54. I'm sorry, 8:53. And that
the 8:53 was in a race?
Yes, in a race. There was like 10 people in it.
Okay.
And when
then what happened?
When I ran that, people were like shocked because nobody in California ran under 9 minutes. I ran way down there.
So you shattered the record.
So I came back in the half mile and ran 1:56, and then I came back and ran 4:15. Well, even today, you go to the track meets and they run 4:15 today, 40 years later.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, I ran pretty fast, and it hit the media, and then Sports Illustrated called and came, and because of that triple, they took my picture, and so is that time recognized? Well, actually, 2
and
mile.
Put that picture up one more time because
2
that's
mile is longer than 3,200, which was what kids run today.
Yeah, the kids today, they run the 32,
3,200.
not the 2.
Yeah, so that converted is like a 49, 849.
All right, that picture right there that you see there, that's the picture that was in Sports Illustrated in 1967. And so he was featured there, and I want to show this. Come back out to us, and you can, I'm going to hold that up right there. I don't know if you can get that on Pete's camera. Go ahead and take Pete's camera there. Go ahead and hold that up to the camera there, Pete. That is the Sports Illustrated, right there, hold it right there. Of course, there is Pete on the right. That was a Sports Illustrated article, 1967. And on the front cover, I got to put my glasses on. I got to see what year. Oh, it's Jack Nicklaus, the Golden Bear.
The Golden Bear.
Winning the U.S. Open, June of 1967. And there it is again. We'll show that. Just fabulous. You have that framed. You and Jack Nicklaus together. Look at that. That's amazing. So, but tell us about the 842. That wasn't run in competition, was it?
Right. No, 842 was something that the media had picked up, but actually,
What happened?
49. I think sometimes people don't check their facts, and when
Did you run an 842?
No. 40,
In practice.
49.
In practice, though, it was reported right here. That's wrong.
You can't read everything. You
can't believe everything you read.
So
Okay.
what happened is that hit a national question. Did he not? And so all of a sudden, my Google page just went crazy because all these people wanted to know about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was great because it was like I was born again.
Yeah, you were born again all of a sudden. This was at Reedley College, right? Reedley High School.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Reedley High School. And so 436-MeTV option 11 if you want to call in and ask Pete a question. We're here live on Connect with Me between the hour of 10 and 11 every day, Monday through Friday. So call in if you do want to talk to Pete or ask a question of any kind. So you've got very fond memories of your track days at in Reedley, right?
Absolutely. It was a time where, a time of growth, and it helps to have great people around you. And I had a great coach, Cameron Ostrand, and had great teammates. And that is very important because you have to have desire and talent, but if you have a mentor or someone who is looking out for you, and he did, it was tremendous. I had unlimited growth.
Who was your mentor?
Cameron Ostrand.
Okay, explain who he is.
He was a coach at Reedley High, and he would get an average kid and make him good, and the good kids he'd make great. That's the kind of person he was. He was a tremendous, tremendous person. He passed away, but is missed.
Yeah. All right, we're talking with Pete Romero. Do call in, 436-MeTV option 11, a local track star, a local hero here. We're going to talk to him about the media here because he worked, of course, Univision and Telemundo. He was on the sales ends of things, and also he started his own ad agency. We'll talk to him about that, and also Mong Radio many years ago. He's now retired, but you can call in and ask a question. We're back in a moment.
I love a joke.
Say, Lucy,
Yeah, Ricky?
a tramp came up to me in the street and he said he hadn't had a bite in weeks.
What'd you do, bite him?
Opening butler joke, buddy, come on.
The master says to the butler, Jeeves, did you put fresh water in the goldfish bowl? And the butler says, why? They didn't drink up what I gave them last night.
You know that ancient joke about the guy who saves his regiment, shoots the cook?
No. How does it go?
It is on the air off the presses today. We're talking with Pete Romero. He's a local track star. Many years ago, back in the 60s, set all kinds of records and ran for Reedley High School, was featured in SI, Sports Illustrated. But I do want to talk about your, because we have a lot of time to fill here, I want to talk about your media days with Gary Kokola. I know you worked at Univision, you worked at Telemundo as a sales rep, I'm assuming. And prior to that, you got involved in Mong Radio.
Yes.
Tell us about your days in broadcasting and sales.
I had decided to leave education.
Mm-hmm.
I was a science teacher and a track coach at Clovis High for about 8 years. And I had a great desire to be a university coach. But it seemed like those doors were closed. People were... in basketball and football, if you win, you're in. If you don't win, they fire you. Well, in track and field, it wasn't that way. So I was looking for a college job, and I said, nope, it's not open. So I decided to leave, and then got involved in sales with Yellow Pages in San Francisco, and then traveled over to the Fresno area with the Yellow Pages, and got involved with Al Radka. And Al Radka introduced me to Univision, and I got hired over there. So I did sales, and I was a local sales manager for about a year and a half.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so from there, I ran into Gary Kokola, and we talked, and he wanted to start Telemundo. So we went that way, and it was an exciting time. And then from there, I wanted to have my own business. So I started PR Group, which was a Hispanic advertising agency. I already had the clientele from Univision, the contacts. And so I was just going to town, having a great time. Was doing events, for example, at the casino, Table Mountain. I brought in boxing, and that brought the Hispanic people in. Shortly after that, I discovered there was a lot of Asian people in town. The Hmong people had come from the camps of Thailand to Fresno and Minnesota, and over 30,000 were here. So I realized they had no radio or newspaper or any kind of media. So I talked to a friend, Dr. Hua Yang, and we got on the radio on the weekends, and it grew. And we had a great time. And now I could do Asian events like Hmong New Year. Hua and I, we got involved with the Hmong New Year for 4 years. So we were the Asian guys, although I wasn't an Asian.
Yeah, you're Hispanic.
Hispanic.
Exactly. by nature, no question. And so what was it like in those days to be, to do media buys for either Univision or Telemundo? Much different than it is now, I would imagine. What years are we talking about?
The late 80s.
Early 90s.
Early 90s.
What was the media buy?
Well, Univision was the only TV, so selling.
But was it difficult to get clients, in other words? Would you pick up the phone? Would you go and visit in person?
We did all of that, and I had 8 people.
What was your sales pitch, in other words?
And our sales pitch was that, we are growing, and at 6 o'clock, the number one station is really not the networks, it's the Spanish, because we have all the people. And
that was your pitch?
That was our pitch, and a lot of people would say they shied away from it, and but money talks. They start realizing their competition gets in, so it just tumbled, and now it's, if you look in town, Univision is the biggest station in town. It's huge.
Yeah.
Tremendous.
What were the media buys at that time? What did it cost?
You could get packages, and you could get $15, $20 spots. If you wanted the news, you'd have to pay, closer to $100. But what happened was cable. All of a sudden, you brought in all of these stations, new signals. So now, of course, the price has changed. You can buy packages and get $10 rates.
Yeah.
And that has changed. Of course, I was out of it.
But I talk to people in sales, and it seems like it's more difficult now to go out and get sales, either via media or otherwise, because why? Is it the economy? Is it people just being tight with their money? What is it, Pete?
Well, it's a combination. I think economy is one, of course, but at the same time, you have this humongous Spanish market, and it is about the power of the dollar. And so if you have automobiles to sell, you need to be in the Spanish media. And but there's so many choices now because of cable that, yes, it kind of waters down your audience, because what are they watching?
Yeah.
A lot of things. They're watching 150 channels. So which ones are you going to buy?
Caller, you're on the air. Go ahead.
Yes, I'd like to congratulate Pete. He says that he worked for Univision and Telemundo, both of them. Mm-hmm. I've never watched Univision. I don't know, but I've never liked that station. But I watch Telemundo, and the only thing I watch on Telemundo is news at 5 and the news at 6:30. What I don't understand is how come they don't have a local news at 6?
Telemundo?
Uh-huh.
You're talking about Telemundo. Okay, I don't know the answer to that question. Maybe
it's a
Pete
good question. It is about economics. It is about staffing, and what they do is they kick on to the national, which just feeds in, and it costs the station nothing, and they can still sell it. Bottom line, economics. Because when you are on the air live, you're competing against, you're like Telemundo versus Univision, and now you have all these cable stations. Well, that costs money. So do you want to make money or do you want to spend money? I would rather just make money, bring in a national feed, and go with that.
Yeah.
They used to have local news at 6 o'clock, but all of a sudden they just discontinued, and now they've got something else. And like I said, I only watch the 5 and 6:30 news, which I really enjoy.
Yeah.
But it would be nice if they had a local news at 6.
Right. The only thing is that, like Pete said, it costs money to have a news department. And it's much easier to just put on a national newscast, go out and sell it locally, and then you're good to go.
Absolutely, yeah. So it is about economics and the opportunity to get your local people viewed is tough because you have other choices. So
yeah, you have thousands of other choices.
Yeah, choices, yeah.
On the internet too, the computer. So television, television is competing with the computer now.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
So, Anyway, okay, we're talking with Pete Romero, the one and only, the track star. Hey, the person who worked in the media for so many years. We'll talk about why he got out of it, too. 436 MeTV option 11. Turn down the sound when you call in. Very fascinating guy, very fascinating guest today because, it dates way back to the 60s and his tie into Gary Coca-Cola and Univision and Telemundo. Call in, ask your questions. We're back here on the air, off the presses, in just a moment.
When you're looking for KitchenAid innovation and quality, who has the answers, the selection, the price? Ventura TV Appliance. With billions in nationwide appliance buying power, more than Home Depot and Best Buy combined, will help you save. Our low prices on Energy Star qualified KitchenAid appliances save you energy and money, and pay no interest on select models when paid in full within 12 months. Ventura TV Appliance, serving you since 1951.
And back here on Connect with Me, MeTV Fresno. You're watching us on Comcast, channel 187 and 43.6, if you have an antenna. And so, Pete, the fierce competition between Univision and Telemundo, obviously two separate companies, two Hispanic networks. Do they like each other? Are they rivals? Do they, is there a lot of disdain for each other? What's the competition like? Because I've always wondered that.
Well, in business, competition is fierce, and those two channels compete for the same dollar. A lot of the money comes nationally, though, and the big guy is Univision, so they have those big connections that they nurtured over the years, and so now the new guy comes into town, and then cable comes into town, so. But what it is about quality programming and then marketing, sales.
Well, what's different about the Univision programming versus Telemundo? It seems like Univision to me has more soap operas for some reason. I don't know. Is that true?
Well, you have a source of talent that's out of Mexico and different other Hispanic nations, and their ability of like Venezuela and different places.
No, is that with Telemundo or Univision?
Well, both. Yeah. Because they're open for programming, and so if someone has a great soap opera in Spain or something, it's Spanish, right? They're going to go try to get it. So you have all of this programming that's coming aboard, and then if you have good programming, then you have good audience, then you can sell.
Right, but it seems like Univision is a step ahead of Telemundo.
Absolutely.
Not only in marketing, but name recognition with Hispanics. Am I right about that?
Absolutely, yeah.
Why? Why?
Well, because
why.
It used to be SIN, owned by Mexico, a Mexican person, Emilio Escarga family. They own newspapers, and then our government said you can't own American broadcast. You can only own like 20%. So they sold to Univision, and but see, they had the first stations, the first major 10 markets, and so their positioning is vital, and they maintain the positioning factor.
What do spots cost now for the most part?
Well, they vary. You can buy packages, but and they have to. Of course, you adapt to the market too. What's going on,
right.
And your competition.
So back in the late '80s, early '90s, a spot cost what?
You could get spots as low as $20, $15 because you bought a group. No, way back when.
Right, but now what can you get them for?
Well, now things have changed because of the fact that people watch different channels. So now you're competing with stations that give it away, so to speak. So yes, the rates have come down some, but if you want the major,
like on Univision,
if you want the major audience,
Univision for 30 seconds or a minute, what's it going to cost me? What's it going to set me back?
Well, it depends on where you buy. If you buy during their prime time, like news, then you're going to pay top dollar, and it just depends on the time of the year as well. But I'm not at liberty really to say a rate for them because it could come back.
Yeah.
But it's what they can negotiate, and it's the time of the year.
Obviously, the rates are higher now than they were 20 years ago.
Oh, absolutely, yes. In some cases, yes. But packaging also, because of competition, you pick up good very good spots.
Yeah. Are the techniques for sales, are they the same today as they were 20 years ago?
I would think there's a lot of basic elements in sales. But
Such as?
Well, like positioning your company, and creating opportunities for the customer, your merchant.
Your client, yeah.
Yes. And then your audience has changed, and there's a lot of growth. So that's also part of positioning. And it is about your ability to market and sell your product.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. If you were selling today, would you change what you did 20 years ago in terms of your game plan to go out and make sales, or what would you do?
I think I wouldn't change the basics of sales, but I think I would incorporate technology, that is available to us now. Before, we used to call somebody or send them a fax or something. Now you can email on your phone, for crying out loud. You can call in from anywhere in the world out of your cell phone. So in that sense, technology would make it so much easier.
Mm-hmm. And so Hmong radio came in what year?
About 1980s, late 80s.
In the 80s?
90s, yeah.
And then you went to Univision after that, right? Was it Univision and Telemundo, or was it?
No, I went to Univision and then to Coca-Cola Broadcasting.
Okay, and then in the Hmong radio.
I started my Spanish agency and then my Asian portion.
That was late 80s, early 90s?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Pete Romero is the guest. Good morning, caller. You're on the air. What's your question, please? Caller?
Hello?
Yeah, caller, go ahead. You're on the air.
Sir, I appreciate your record. That was a phenomenal time. And are you still doing anything in sports now, or what are you doing now?
Well, I support track and field. I work with Bob Fraley, former track coach at Fresno State, and we try to instill the basic principles of track and field and things that we learned on the track to tell kids to use off the track, like in the classroom and in their lives. And so we do promote track and field. We go to schools and speak.
Motivational speaking?
And we, yes, public speaking as well as we do the indoor meet, and Coach Fraley does an outdoor pole vault event in Clovis. So I'm involved in that sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I just wanted to give you a heads up. I knew Tammy, and I know Gary, and I do appreciate you being still active.
Well, thank you, and I believe in giving back. So yeah. I do put a lot of time into the community.
Right. Well, thank you for the
call.
call.
It's great to see you on the air.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you for the call.
Thank you. Good day.
All right. Take care. Have a good day. So I do want to get into what you are doing now, but I want to follow up in my previous question before the caller called in, and that is you had the Hmong radio after Univision, after Telemundo, and you also started your own ad agency.
Yes.
At the same time, you became ill. What happened? Tell us. I know it was a liver problem, right?
Well, yes, I'm a diabetic. I got diabetes when I was 40 years old. And when I was 50 years old, I had diabetes under control. I was a racquetball player and in very good shape. And I took a pill called Resolin, and I read about it. And
was that for diabetes?
For diabetes. Mm-hmm. And it really attacked my liver. And so I was playing racquetball with Dan Robinson, the old Bullard coach. We were playing, and I started seeing darkness and light at the end of a tunnel, and that's all I remember. And so I ended up in the hospital, and my doctor said that my liver had failed and that was melting as we spoke. And he said I had 30 to 60 days to live. And he said, I'm sorry, but you're going to pass away. I recommend you sell everything you have and go home. Stay close to your family. So, of course, I questioned him. I would not accept that. I said, I'm in great shape. What are you talking about? Anyway, so it did attack me, and then about 3 weeks into the diseased liver, I took a blood test, and the chart showed performance. My liver had regenerated. It's one of the few organs in our bodies that can regenerate. So it started performing. And so he called me, my doctor called me after a blood test. He says, "You're not going to die. You're not going to die."
Amazing. What year was that?
90.
1990.
Yeah, late 90, yeah.
And so after all these years, and you have no idea why your liver started regenerating on its own.
I think part of it was I was in fantastic shape. And the other part was that the damage that had happened to me was not enough to shut my liver down. It put it in shock and shut down some of the functions, but I was strong enough to come back. It just started performing again.
Did you stop taking that diabetic pill?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I got involved in a 4-year lawsuit against the pharmaceutical. And
did you win?
Yeah.
You won the lawsuit.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. And so after you stopped taking the pill, then that's when your liver started coming back to a
started coming
extent.
back. Yeah, it started coming back, and so started feeling better. My skin had got kind of golden look.
Like a yellow gold,
like like jaundice or something.
Yeah.
And then my skin color started coming back, and I started getting energy and feeling better. Mm-hmm. I was bedridden there for a while.
All right, Pete Romero is the guest. We're glad that he's here, glad he's alive, glad his liver is working, and glad you're there on the other side of the telly, ready to call in. 436 MeTV, option 11. Turn down the sound. Pete Romero is the guest. Back in a moment.
Frigidaire. We introduced the first home freezer, the first pulsator agitator washer, and now we introduce the Frigidaire Orbit Clean dishwasher, designed with a unique wash arm that gives you 4 times more water coverage for a consistently better clean. Frigidaire, over 90 years of legendary innovation.
See the full line of Frigidaire appliances at Ventura TV Electronics and Appliances.
Back here on the show, it's On the Air, Off the Presses, talking to Pete Romero. So one-time fantastic high school athlete. You know, I want to get back to the media thing for just a moment, but first, you went to, where'd you go after you left Reedley, after that tremendous track career at Reedley High School?
Well, my goal was to go to the university, so I got offers everywhere, and I ended up at University of Texas, El Paso.
UTEP.
At UTEP, back
You're
to my...
a UTEP.
Yeah, UTEP guy. Back to my home where I was born, in the area.
Yeah.
And they had a fabulous program, and we won a lot of national titles. And
you continued with your track career there.
Yes, and I made All-America twice, and AAU All-America once, and was on a couple of national teams, and just had a great time. I traveled all over, and I met a lot of fantastic people, and it was a dream come true because our college went to Penn Relays, Drake Relays, Texas Relays, out here to West Coast Relays. We traveled extensively.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, getting back to the media per se, what do you find wrong with what's going on in the media today, would you say? I want to talk about what's right, what's wrong, but let's start with what bugs you. What's wrong with the media today from what you see? Not only from the local news that you see, but from programming in general.
Well, it's disturbing that anybody that wants to be on TV today, whether you're chasing down pigs or alligators, that can have a show. You know, the quality TV is like, it's there, but it's limited. And before, you had to compete to be on the air, and so the quality
now
of
the Kardashians, if you're a Kardashian, you can be on the air.
You have a big butt, you're on the air.
Yeah. All right. We got a call coming in. Good morning, caller. You're on with Pete Romero. What's your question? Well, the caller was there. Call back at 436 MeTV option 11. So that's what bothers you. Back in the late 80s, early 90s, or even in the in the 60s and 70s, you had to fight to get on the air. It was quality programming. You only had the 3 networks, cable to a certain extent. Now you have too many choices, and that's what waters down the quality?
Yes, it waters it down, and so I think that's why a lot of people are going to the internet, because you just like, you want substance, you want quality stuff. So you search for it on the internet.
Yeah. Caller, you're on the air. Go ahead. What's your question for Pete? Caller?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead. You're on the air.
Your guest, Pete Romero, I don't know if this is a myth, that I've heard this over the years, that the Paul Simon song, Me and Julio, was written with your guest, Pete Romero, in mind. And I've seen it in some pieces in the paper over the years and stuff whenever they talk about
I never
Paul
heard
Simon.
that. Have you?
The meteoric rise of Pete Romero's track career. That's one question. I got a second question, too, and a comment. My comment is courageous battle that Pete conducted against that liver failure thing, and you're always glad to hear success stories when it comes to liver regeneration and the effects of toxic medications on the liver. My question is, did you have symptoms, Pete? Did you have the nagging backache? Did you have the fatigue? Did you have the the vision loss? Two questions for your fantastic guest this morning. Thank you.
Go ahead, Pete.
Actually, when I was taking the Resolin, I was playing racquetball, so I had a lot of pain in the back and legs and neck and everywhere, because when you play racquetball, it's very physical. So I did have some aches and pains, but I didn't associate it with the medication.
But like you said earlier, it was mainly when you lost your vision. You had that tunnel vision.
I saw that darkness in the tunnel,
darkness
and then I passed out. I did see my kids and my life in front of me. It was like,
wow.
whoa, you know, stuff you read about.
Yeah.
I did have that. And
you
then
thought maybe you died and went to heaven?
I think so. It was very pleasant. And then,
it was almost like a near-death experience then,
yes,
huh?
It was, because I did have a young brother that passed away, and he had that experience.
He did?
He talked to me about it, yeah. So, so I thought I was a goner, and but it wasn't my time. It wasn't my time.
It wasn't your time to go. And let's hope you're around for many years to come. And so getting back to the media and what bothers you is the lack of quality programming?
The lack of quality programming.
Okay.
Just too many stations and too much junk.
All right, let me put you in the chair, back in the chair at Univision and Telemundo. If you're selling today with the lack of quality programming, how do you sell and what do you do?
Well, you're going to feature your good stuff, your high rating stuff, and then throw in side stuff, as a package, and then still generate quite a bit of money.
How important are ratings?
Ratings are
when you're selling a package to somebody. How important? Do you pull that book out and say, "Hey, look"?
It's a measurement. And measurements would equate to possible sales, but it's not a given. You have to close a deal.
And how do you close a deal?
Well, first of all, you have to have something to sell, and so you have to position your station to where the client is open to buy, and you do that with ratings, shows, time of the day that you're going to sell them, what you're going to sell them, and then it is about persuasion,
Is it a tougher sell today because of the lack of programming? The lack of, many quality programs?
I would think so, because a lot of the just so many stations, who's watching what, and what are you going to sell,
Yeah. There's too much competition out there.
A lot of competition.
Yeah. So whatever you bring to the table today, it better be good. It better stand out. So you have to stand out tall in the crowd.
Absolutely.
And that's a hard thing to do in this day and age, right?
Well, I believe a lot of it is a skill, but you have to have something to sell. I mean, who's going to buy nothing?
Do you have to have the gift of gab?
Some, I would say some. There is a lot to being able to communicate with people and give them what they want, because people will buy what they think they want, and what you have, they'll buy it.
Right.
And so it is up to the salesperson to package well, to present what you have that's of value to the client.
But does most of it rest on the salesperson and how believable that person is and how well you believe in your own product, whether it be Univision or Telemundo, or would it be, hey, look, here's what you're getting out of the deal?
Yeah, it has to be sold. Sales is not a given. It's competitive, And you must be, as a salesperson, you must be able to position your product so you can close the deal, and you actually are able to communicate to that client that it's in their best interest to buy from you.
Yeah, so you have to convince them that here's
Absolutely.
what you're getting for your money.
If somebody comes in and can't do that, they're going to pass you up. Go to the next guy.
All right, another call here. Good morning, caller. You're on the air with Tony Romero. Go ahead. Hello, caller? Caller, you're there. Go ahead and turn down your sound on your TV set, please. Caller? Okay. If you call in, do turn down the sound. 436 MeTV option 11. If you're watching us right now and you call in, please turn down the sound. Don't sit there with the sound up, because you won't be able to hear me on the phone because you're too busy listening to your television set, and there is a slight delay. So we're happy to have you call in. We're back with Pete Romero in just a moment.
When you like Ventura TV Appliance on Facebook, it's nice. But when you love the Whirlpool appliances we deliver, it's even better. Our website is cool, and it's a good place to start, but you really should touch the merchandise before you buy. Touch the new Whirlpool Ice Collection. It offers a modern style made to create an inspiring kitchen experience. Save big on this Whirlpool Black Ice or White Ice kitchen. Come into Ventura TV Appliance and touch the merchandise today.
Back here with Pete Romero, a local track star for many years, a local media buyer, of course, out and doing sales for Univision and Telemundo for a long period of time. What about talk about your ad agency just for a little bit.
Well,
what was that all about?
Coming from Spanish television, I knew a lot of the buyers in the area. So I had approached, I made a list, and I went and I approached them about being their agency, and a lot of them said absolutely. So we signed contracts, and then so I was able to do marketing for them, and position all their advertising on different medias like print and radio and television. And then I offer to them different events, or tie them into events so they could get the name out.
Mm-hmm. Did you make more money being out on your own?
Absolutely.
How so?
Well, I was relentless and spent a lot of time selling and creating opportunities for myself. So it was, endless.
Yeah. Okay. Let's talk about what you're doing now, because you are the CEO and I guess the executive director of the California Hispanic Athletics and Sports Foundation. I had not heard of it before I talked to you. Now, what is this organization about? What is it?
Well, it is a website, and it features Hispanic athletes.
Okay.
And you can go from wrestling to NBA basketball to soccer worldwide, and you have tremendous Hispanic athletes. Like, I would have never believed that I'm watching the Jets playing Dallas with two Hispanic quarterbacks, Romo and Mark Sanchez. That didn't happen when I was growing up. And so now you have these athletes that have risen to the top. And the NBA commissioner, before he retired, did a survey of fans in the NBA. He realized that 60% of his fan base was Latino. So all of a sudden there's 28 Hispanic athletes playing NBA. They come in from all kinds of Spanish-speaking countries.
So what does your organization do?
So we gather outstanding Hispanic athletes and put them on the website, and under bios, and you click on the sport, and then you have a listing of athletes, and you want to have information about them. So a lot of the information comes from print and from, of course, the internet. And so there's a lot of links that are connected to an athlete so that you can know all about the athlete.
Are there any Hispanics locally here that are on your website?
Absolutely.
You feature local athletes
let's
here.
say, for example, under coaching, we have Tom Flores.
Right.
So, a Sanger person, and five Super Bowl rings. One at Kansas, and then two with Madden, under Madden, and then two that he won. He has 5 Super Bowl rings.
Right.
So I have him in there in the coaching category.
Right. What about local Hispanic athletes that are competing now in this day and age? Are they on that website as well?
Absolutely. We have a ultra marathon person living in Madeira, and he's like world ranked, and they run 24-hour races and things.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Oswaldo is his name. He's out of Madeira, and so here we have somebody right there, and he's a global figure in ultra marathon.
How do you find out about local athletes that are competing now? Who does the research? Who works the website?
I have a webmaster, but I also do a lot of the research myself because I'm fascinated by athletes, particularly Hispanic athletes. Like recently in Sacramento, the 1500 meter was run on Sunday. The national champion was a Hispanic guy from Texas. And so, of course, he's featured, and here he is, the national champion. And he also represented the U.S. in the last Olympics and got the silver medal. He was
You're
second
talking
place.
about the last couple of weeks up in Sacramento, the outdoor track and field
Yes.
championships.
So we have,
I don't recall his name, but I know who you're talking about because I saw the story about it.
So we have all these great athletes that are performing at a
Right.
high level, and tennis is interesting. We have Nadal, Spanish speaking, but historically we had great ones in the past. Pancho Gonzalez, back in the 20s and 30s, these guys are champions of the world, and but we do have a down part, and so, but there's a lot of young people coming up in that particular sport.
Right.
Other sports, for example, like football, is just booming with Latinos. A lot of great young athletes coming into the picture.
Who impresses you now? What young athlete, Hispanic athlete, impresses you now that's here in the Central Valley?
In Central Valley, tough question because there's quite a few. And a lot of them haven't reached their peak. They're very young. We have tremendous baseball players. I mean, a kid just got drafted out of Central High a year ago or so, and these guys are big baseball pros already.
Yeah.
Out of high school even.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot to come. The future looks fantastic. About 42% of the baseball professionals are all Latinos.
In Major League Baseball.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And they come from many countries, but they're Spanish speaking.
Give us the web address to your
California
website.
Hispanic Athletic and Sports.com. So that's California Hispanic Athletic and Sports.com.
Okay. All right. We're talking with Pete Romero here on Connect with Me, Comcast 187 and 43.6. We're going to continue our program. Do call in. Do turn down the sound. Back with our remaining few minutes here with Pete in just a moment.
When you're looking for Whirlpool innovation and quality, who has the answers, the selection, the price? Ventura TV Appliance. With billions in nationwide appliance buying power, more than Home Depot and Best Buy combined, we'll help you save. Our low prices on Energy Star qualified Whirlpool appliances save you energy and money and pay no interest on select models when paid in full within 12 months. Ventura TV Appliance, serving you since 1951.
Yeah, we're talking with Pete Romero here. He's a local track star and, of course, salesperson for Univision and Telemundo. Getting back to your website about Hispanic athletes, you wanted to say something about scholarships for young Hispanics here in this area. What about that?
The website will feature a database for schools to use. For example, if you look at middle schools today, over 70% are Latino children. So we want to give them role models, and what a better place to look for Hispanic role models than on my web.
How are you going to generate scholarships, though, for some of these young kids?
That's going to be in the fundraising portion of our organization, to where when we have funds to give back to athletes who have high academics who are Hispanic athletes.
All right. And you want to start featuring women athletes as well?
We've incorporated female athletes, and that's relatively new. And so we have young gals who are allowed to play in sports. Our culture didn't allow that for long, historically. So now we start seeing softball players that have been to the Olympics, and some track and field people. So it's an exciting time. And also, there is a portion of a Hall of Fame, because sometimes you don't get in the Hall of Fame. Like Tom Flores recently got, into the Hall of Fame for football.
But not the Pro Football Hall
Pro
of Fame.
football, yes. And here's a guy is he in? No, he's not.
He's not.
He's got 5 rings in the Super Bowl, and he's not in. Why? Why is he not in? So
yeah, that's a good question. Tom Flores was our guest here about 1.5 years ago, and I asked him that same question, and he said, basically in his own mind, that it's, the East Coast media, the writers, they have an East Coast bias.
Oh, absolutely.
To a certain extent, and
absolutely.
He coached the Raiders, obviously, was a player, has 5 Super Bowl rings, as you said. Has 3 with the Raiders, but
Jim Plunkett is
not good enough to get in.
Yeah,
Tom Flores, not good enough to get in.
Right.
He won 2 Super Bowls as a head coach. Now, if you think I understand that, then good morning, caller. You're on the air. Go ahead.
Yes, good morning. Ask Pete Romero if you remember Armando Munoz. He used to play football for the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yes.
He was a good player. I mean, he made it, I think, into the Hall of Fame. I don't know, but he was a great football player.
There are many great, historically, NFL football players. In the 30s, somebody played for the Steelers, Dallas. There's been historically quite a few Hispanics.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So they're featured in my website.
Any other questions for Pete? Caller? Okay. Thank you very much. I appreciate it so much. We're talking with Pete Romero. He is the executive director and he is the CEO of the California Hispanic Athletics and Sports Foundation. We're going to continue our program here on Connect with Me. You're watching us live on Comcast and 43.6.
When you like Ventura TV Appliance on Facebook, it's nice. But when you love the Frigidaire Gallery appliances we deliver, it's even better. Our website is cool, and it's a good place to start. But you really should touch the merchandise before you buy. Time for that upgrade to an Energy Star qualified French door Frigidaire Gallery refrigerator. Quality appliances for the way you live. Get the best selection, price, and service in town without waiting. Come in to Ventura TV Appliance and touch the merchandise.
We're back here with Pete Romero. He is a local guy, very familiar to a lot of people out there. Let's put his picture up on the screen, even though he's here live. I'm going to show this photo of Pete. There he is right there. What is this photo of you, and where is it, Pete? Where was that taken? You remember?
I believe that was at Relay Invitational, because it's, after 46 years, my record stood, and some kid broke it, a kid from Bakersfield. And so I was asked to go over there and take pictures. So I went to Relay, and they took some pictures.
Uh-huh. And that was in the 3200, was it? 3200,
yes. Blake Haney out of Bakersfield, Stockdale High School, broke my record, which was like, I've been watching track and field 40 years and no one ever got close. And this kid, I believe he was a 5th place finisher in Arcadia, and he had a faster time.
And again, your record was what?
8:49.
8:49.
And the kid runs 8:48.
And there you are there doing 8:49 in a picture taken by Sports Illustrated that ran in 1967. You're a high school kid there. You were in great shape. What was your weight at that time?
I weighed about 142, and I did weights every other day. Was up at 5 in the morning and did 10 miles.
10 miles in the morning before breakfast, huh?
At 11, I had study hall, and I would go run 20 110-yard dashes around the track, and then I would have lunch, and then after school I had practice.
You ever look at that picture and say, my gosh, whatever happened to that guy?
Yeah, what happened?
What happened to that man? I wish I still had that body.
It's the youth of people, yeah.
Do you ever think those thoughts when you look at that photo?
No, because I'm in pretty good shape now. So.
Are you? What do you do now?
I walk my dogs, and that's about it.
You don't go 10 miles anymore,
No,
huh?
no.
Before breakfast, you don't go 10 miles?
Well, things happen. My left arch on my foot dropped. So
Oh,
I have
wow.
orthotics. So, yes, I can run, and I do occasionally, but it's very painful, and I'm not really fond of pain.
Yeah. Do you think you got? None of us are. Believe me, I'm not fond of pain either. But so how's your health now?
Well, I'm diabetic, and that's a constant. That's something you get, or it gets you. And so I have very good doctors, and constantly after it, and I have very good control of my sugar, and my health is very good. I did pick up some asthma, which is a valley thing, and so I'm taking care of that as well.
Yeah, the diabetes now, you control that with diet, do you?
Diet, exercise, medications, of course, insulin.
What do you do for exercise if you've got a foot problem or a heel problem?
I have a treadmill. I get on that some. I do like to walk my dog, so I do like 30, 40 minutes of that.
30, 40 minutes of that a day, and that's good exercise. Do you swim at all, or?
No.
You don't swim. Don't swim. Okay. All right. So, what do you want people to remember about you? You're not that old. You're what, 66? 66.
Yes.
You got a long way to go, Pete. So, what do you want people to remember about you once your legacy is all set in stone there?
I guess that that I was on the earth and that I accomplished some things. Some people think about and dream about things. I never did. I would think about them and dream about them and go do them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I want people to remember that everything is possible if they're willing to work hard, surround themselves with talent. It's possible.
What advice would you give young people if they want to get into the world of sports, if they want to compete in track and field, and by the same token, if they want to enter the world of broadcasting, whether it's becoming a sales rep, becoming a news anchor, working in the industry to a certain extent? So advice on both ends. What do you tell young people?
Actually, I have the privilege of going to a lot of schools and talking to young people. And I talk to them about dreaming and setting goals and not to be afraid to go after something. And if it's track and field, that they have to have a commitment, dedicate themselves to the sport, work hard. You don't show up and get all the trophies. It doesn't work that way. You have to pay the price. And at the same time, if they have interest in media, they need to take journalism. They need to get an education and take courses that are necessary and required to do what they want to do, whether it's sales or talent. Yes.
Yeah, when you talk about dedication in track, you have to have the talent, but you also have to have the will and the desire, which is something that apparently you had.
Well, people are motivated in different ways. My particular motivation when we started was to get an education, and track and field for me was a vehicle. And I was going to get in there and go to the top, and then I would have a demand, and universities would pay my way, and they did.
Yeah, so you achieved your goal.
Absolutely.
You got your education, you came out, and you were very successful. And I do want to show this Sports Illustrated. We only got about a minute left. I do want to show this one more time. Let's show it on my camera here. I try to get the reflection out of there the best I can. And obviously on the right there, or let's see, that would be screen right, you'd see Pete Romero in 1967 running for Reedley High School and setting a record in the 2-mile. And of course on your left is Jack Nicklaus, having won the U.S. Open back in 1967. So Pete Romero and Jack Nicklaus in the same breath. Sports Illustrated. That is really quite a legacy for you.
Well, thank you. And
it's amazing.
I appreciated it when it happened, and more so as I got older, because I really never met people on Sports Illustrated.
They came to you, though.
They're rare, yeah. Yes, they did. Yes, they did.
Yeah, that's quite an accomplishment. Pete Romero, I appreciate your time. Whoops, it's okay, no problem. Good to see you, and come back again.
I appreciate you for having me on the air. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Pete, and fascinating person, as I said. Pete Romero here on Connect with Me on Comcast 187 and 43.6. Back with another program tomorrow. Katarina Benitez will be here. She is a local attorney. It'll be Ask an Expert. We'll see you then. Have a great day.